Welcome to this Forbes Africa special. I am Renuka Methil, the managing editor of Forbes Africa. Today, I'm in conversation with the cover stars of the June-July issue of Forbes Africa. That's out on shelves this week from the 1st of June. And with us here today are the 30 under 30 class of 2021. Now, this is the 7th edition of Forbes Africa's under 30 list. And this year, we had over 1,000 applicants, finally narrowed down by our editorial team to 30 finalists across the categories of business, technology, sport, and the creative sectors. It was a rigorous vetting process. Nominees needed to provide valid evidence of their pursuits, and background checks were conducted to ensure the caliber of the candidates. Along with our audit partner, S&G Grant Thornton, the research done by our team of editorial curators was also vetted by a Pan-African panel of judges and subject matter experts. We have with us, in no particular order, Cleo Johnson, Reinhard Mahalie, Shakemore Timburwa, Mihlali Ndamase, and last but certainly not the least, Antonio Depina. A warm welcome to all of you. You're all still basking in the euphoria that is this issue, just out on shelves, and it's generating a lot of buzz. So let me get to speak to you about the buzz at your ends. I want to first start with South Africa, closer home to Cleo Johnson. Cleo, I'm giving you the first preference because you're also down with COVID. How are you feeling?
Grateful for that, and obviously to the doctors and everybody that's been taking care of me. But yeah, the reception has been amazing. Even though I was very fatigued on Tuesday when it did happen, I think I took a break around about 4 o'clock because it was very overwhelming, but amazing reception. And yeah, it's been so amazing just to see how well it's been received by everyone, both online and obviously amongst my own community. So yeah.
Fantastic. So, Cleo, you are an entrepreneur now. There's also a reason why I wanted to start with you. You started with a salaried job at a very young age. You were with the Protea Group, you were with the Radisson Group. These were big hotel brands in South Africa. You also shone through in that you were always the youngest professional in whatever you did at these various establishments. And then you decided to take the leap of faith. Right? You decided to give up a 9-to-5 job and turn entrepreneur. And the epiphany happened in a coffee parlor talking to a stranger. So I think the message here is it's okay to talk to strangers in coffee parlors. You just might get the right idea or the right epiphany at that time. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, sure. So my journey essentially started in 2017. I think it was in January when the contract for the next hotel I was going to go and open wasn't working out, and I decided to decline. Not normally me, I'm a very controlling person, so it was very out of character, but I think there was probably some divine intervention at that point. And I think about a week later, it was my last day at the hotel, and I just decided I was going to go to India and do a whole Eat, Pray, Love for 6 months and just take time out for myself and kind of just discover who I was outside of corporate. And yeah. Fast forward to I was trying to monetize a blog and, try and find ways to obviously just make my journey work while I was abroad. And ironically, in that time, I had obviously had to register the company and do, some brand identity and all of that. And I found myself at Starbucks in Rosebank one of the days I was working from there. And there was a gentleman opposite me and he was like, "Oh, so what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm just registering as a freelancer, I'm about to go overseas." And he's like, "What do you do?" So I was explaining, social media, marketing strategy and all of that. And he's like, "Oh, but I need a social media manager." So I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "Would you like to, trial this?" I was like, "Perfect." So it was my first contract that I made at Starbucks. I think it's like the American dream. Most people get found at Starbucks. It's for singing and all sorts of things. So I got my little break there too. And then, 3 weeks down the line, I decided not to go to India anymore and just kind of, I guess, played this all out. And I think a month later, I then got my biggest hotel contract, opened the first digitized hotel in Africa, which was an amazing experience. And I haven't looked back since. And I don't think I can probably go back into corporate.
You've been working remotely as well. So working remotely is not new for you when you started your business in 2017. So tell us a little bit about, before I move to the next person on this panel, tell us a little bit about how the hospitality industry is taking this pandemic? I mean, you've been so involved in the travel and hospitality industry. How do we eventually now get the people with the big pockets to come to the shores of South Africa?
So I think with that, one thing that we've kind of been discussing, and just as, I would say colleagues in the industry, is just South Africa being taken off the red list. It's so, how would I say, it's very damaging to our country and our economy as well as tourism. Obviously, we do have, the likes of some Americans still traveling here and there, but it's not in like the fluctuations that you would normally see them traveling in. And I think kind of just from a PR aspect, South Africa needs to shift getting that removing certain barriers, especially when it's traveling to the country now. Understand, obviously, COVID protocols adhere to, but just certain, I want to say, red tape that doesn't allow every single, country to come in necessarily. At the moment, we need a massive injection. And I just do believe with certain government interventions and possibly, from, Pan-African countries and things like that, that we could possibly get to a point where, we can actually, I want to kind of say, stimulate travel, not only in South Africa, but on the continent. So things like e-visas, and I briefly mentioned to you as well, Renuka, was obviously digital nomad visas as well. These are things that the likes of Mauritius are looking into. And I mean, if you look at countries like Panama, Peru, obviously Bali, you would know these are massive digital nomad hubs, and something that we can definitely exploit in this time. People want to be able to travel cheaply in a sense, but for long extended periods.
So from Table Mountain in South Africa, let's go to the Namib Desert in Namibia. Tell us, the designer from Namibia, tell us more about your own experiences in your country. You're on the cover. What is the kind of traction you're getting at this moment?
Hi everyone, I am Reinhard Mahalie. I am a fashion stylist, multi-award winning fashion stylist from Namibia. This whole week has been so exciting. It has been an amazing journey. Like, people are still showering me with so much love. It's media houses that's calling me, from broadcast to radio to print. Family members and friends, they just want to come pop in and visit and just, deliver whatever gifts or flowers they have. It has been really amazing. So many collaborations, Namibian creatives that, wants to come on board and, just like collaborate with me. I did get emails and direct messages on Instagram for collaborations from countries such as Ghana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe. So like that has been amazing. And but I am so thankful, so grateful for Forbes Africa for this opportunity. And, just making this list is so legendary, if I can put it in that. But it has been amazing.
What really is the uptake for big global brands in a country like Namibia? But at the same time, when you have a lack of the global brand presence, how does local fashion feed into supporting entrepreneurs in your industry and actually giving skilled jobs to young creative people in Namibia?
Okay, so our local fashion designers, or what they do is they employ seamstresses, tailors. So that's a way of them giving another one like employment, so to say. And one other thing is we do have local manufacturing, like leather that we do work with. So those shops are in in malls, and they also do create employment. It is so difficult, for example, for like a Zara or Prada or like a very big end high fashion brand to come and wanting to come make a profit here in Namibia because of our population. But I must say that the way that local fashion creators, get employment is through fashion shows, is to work at fashion weeks. We have 2 fashion weeks in the country. And, it's, like I said, fashion weeks, music videos, and just to, be an all-round creative in the whole entertainment industry. Not just fashion, but for fashion creators to see how they can incorporate their work in the entertainment and art industry.
So from one creative in Namibia to another creative in South Africa. So the creative influencer we have amidst us today It's Mihlali Ndamase, the 24-year-old celebrity online. So tell us what is your experience been so far? You've got a lot of followers on Instagram.
Hi everyone. The experience has been so overwhelming. My heart is so full, from friends and family delivering flowers to the amount of the interview requests are crazy. I don't think I've ever gotten this many interview requests in my entire career. I promise you, day after day, there's a new interview. So it's really been amazing. And I think slowly the opportunities are also creeping in. So I'm really happy. It's been great.
So, when we spoke yesterday, you told me that, when you were growing up, you never had it in you to think that, oh, you can run a business, so you can earn money by being a creative influencer. You only dreamed of being in big corporate beauty companies and growing up the corporate ladder, but you never thought you'd be your own boss. What was that one moment that changed? What was that life-changing moment that made you who you are today?
It was all back in 2016 when I started my YouTube channel. So my audience on Instagram was growing. I think I had a decent amount of followers, and I was getting a lot of questions around how I put together my looks, how I do my makeup. And I was also studying marketing at the time while doing a makeup course part-time. I had to do it part-time because everyone at home was like, there's no way we took you to good schools, then you're going to go to varsity and study makeup. So I did makeup part-time, and that's when I started my YouTube channel, when I saw people curiosity around my entire look. And that's when I got my first opportunity for a brand paid campaign. I did upload my first YouTube video, and I think someone who knows me referred me to a brand manager, and that's really where it all started.
Ask you, who were your own role models or influences that you looked up to in your journey so far?
Geez, locally, I would honestly say there's a lot of women in entertainment who are game changers. So I was really inspired by the likes of Bonang Mateba, especially when I was in high school. I was absolutely obsessed. I was in love with her work ethic, everything. And then obviously the OGs of influencing the Kardashians. Right. I'm sure at some point everybody was watching them. And then there's quite a few people who in my life as well who inspired me, such as the woman who raised me, my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt. They also played a huge impact in the woman that I am today.
So I'm in conversation with this month's cover stars, the class of 2021, and that's the 7th edition of the Forbes Africa 30 Under 30. Now from South Africa, I'm moving to Zimbabwe. I mean, in Zimbabwe, also, I'm sure you have more load shedding than we do. We in South Africa are prone to several hours of load shedding too. So the man who is trying in many ways to dispel the energy crisis in Zimbabwe, Shakemore, tell us more about what about the traction you're receiving in Zimbabwe after the cover, after being on this cover, and what is the energy scene in Zimbabwe? Pray, tell us.
The energy is so overwhelming, and that's when you also realize that you'll be having a lot of people that look up to you and they learn from you. And I really want to take this wonderful opportunity to appreciate the Forbes Africa magazine and the whole team that you work with there, Renuka. They are very wonderful people, and to me it's a priceless opportunity to be featured in the magazine and also to be on the cover. So the response here is overwhelming, and I can tell you next edition you have a lot of applicants from Zimbabwe.
Oh, that's fantastic. We've had applicants from there, but you're so right about my team. I have a very young and energetic team, and I'm extremely proud of them. But then, we were also talking about your infectious energy on the sets during the cover shoot, Shakemore. You're a tall man with a lot of energy. So tell us how you're also, as the founder of Energy Plus in Zimbabwe, trying to resolve the energy crisis in Zimbabwe.
Wow, thank you so much. What led me to to end up starting or establishing Energy Plus was a crisis that I observed. It was a problem. What was happening by then, it was around 2013, and Zimbabwe was experiencing the worst load shedding. We were having 18 to 20 hours of load shedding. There was no electricity, and it was just pretty bad. So due to those long hours of no electricity, the people that were in the community that I stayed, which is in Mtare, where I grew up and where I was born, there was now a level of finding an alternative to replace the energy or the electricity that was in short supply. So people started to do, you know, these fossil fuels whereby people, they go and cut down trees, and it was massive deforestation that was happening. So by that time also, the United Nations was pushing the agenda of global warming, the effect of deforestation. And to me, it then made sense to say, this is a crisis. So if I can be able to solve this crisis, I can be able to then get money as a byproduct of solving this problem. That's how Energy Plus was established, and that's how the research started, and that's how I started to venture into trying to find an alternative in trying to save the environment.
So you started with, when I spoke to you yesterday, you said you started with $333 in your pocket. That was
yes.
With $100 given to you by your mother. Now today, your plans are to become Zimbabwe's biggest depot for LPG gas cylinders. So you have a tall man with some very tall plans. So tell us more about that. How are you going to achieve that? How are you going to take on the big competitors? Because you're still a small player.
Okay, I think what the advantage that I have is I'm no longer actually looking at Zimbabwe alone. I'm now actually looking at the whole continent of Africa.
Yes.
Because I've realized there's a crisis in Africa, and right now as we speak, the whole African bloc, almost every country is trying to push for clean energy usage by 2030. So that's also another agenda that is on the United Nations platform. So I've been able to work my way up and trying to connect with the right people, which are the sole suppliers of the LPG product. And apparently from where we stand right now, the relationship actually got cemented by the Forbes Africa magazine, because their confidence also increased, and also having a person being listed with a legit, credible source like Forbes magazine gave confidence to the suppliers that we are intending to work with. So that has given me a very good leverage. And looking at how Zimbabwe is structured, the biggest challenge that we have in Zimbabwe is that we are a landlocked country. Yeah. So having the wells of LPG gas becomes very difficult. So like now we were getting much of the LPG that is being used in Zimbabwe, and much of the solar that is being used in Zimbabwe comes from South Africa, China, and India. So that's where I went. I went to the root source of the suppliers of the solar panels, the LPG gas, and we managed to secure some deals which are in progress. And once that is done, I know, and I'm certain that I will not face a lot of competition. But the other thing that I know about competition is that I'm young and time is still on my side, and I'm going to be a very innovative person. And with the network that I now have, especially with the Forbes Africa, I have people in South Africa, I've got people in Namibia, I've got people in Nigeria. That network alone is something that I will never take for granted.
I agree, and I hope you're able to resolve, contribute to the climate change narrative that Africa has at the moment as well. So you play basketball, right, Shakemore?
Yes, I play basketball.
So let's now move to the professional basket player on the panel, Mr. Antonio Depina. You just flown in from New York an hour ago to Cape Verde.
Yes. Long flight. Real long, but I think I'm used to it now. So I slept the whole way.
So landing in Cape Verde, did you get a hero's welcome because of the cover?
I haven't been outside yet. Right now, we're actually in Cape Verde. We're in like a little COVID crisis calamity. So a lot of things are closing early here, but right. I haven't been outside yet. I literally got off the flight and came here for the Forbes Zoom.
Oh, wow. So we're really indeed privileged. So tell me, Antonio, you mentioned that you've come from humble beginnings, but that actually has also taught you the art of hustling. So you used to sell, you've seen your parents all through your childhood work 3 jobs a day, and you've yourself sold old toys and candy bars. So you had the entrepreneurial streak in you from a very young age, and you learned the art of hustling. How has it helped you in your journey as a professional basketball player playing in Europe? You're straddling continents from, between the US and Africa. But how has it helped you in your journey? And now you're an entrepreneur as well. You just started an app at the peak of the pandemic last year. So tell us more about this journey.
Yep. So my mother and father are both from Africa. They came to America when they were between 15 and 20 years old. This basically is like, I always tell people this, like, when you're coming from Africa or a poverty-ridden, country, it's very, very hard to start to just give anything. You're not giving anything, starting from ground zero. So I always commend my parents for, what they've done, whether they worked 3 jobs, 2 jobs, whatever it was, they tried their best. And, I try my best to help them by selling candy bars. I didn't know it then, that I had a hustler spirit until I grew to now. And I'm like looking back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really was a hustler. I was selling candy bars just to pay for basketball shoes and things like that. But now looking back, it definitely helped me now. And I use that in my basketball. I worked very, very hard. I became a professional. I went to play in Portugal. I played in Barcelona. And I took that same energy and that same spirit into the entrepreneurial world. And that helped me now with turning basketball and merging basketball with tech and creating this app.
Fantastic. I mean, I'm definitely going to come back to you, but before we wind up this session, I want to dwell on 2 topics. One is, what does social impact mean to all of you? How are you using your work as a tool or as an implement to achieve some kind of social work in your area of expertise? So let's start with Reinhard. What is the social impact you are hoping to achieve through your creative work?
Okay, thank you so much for the question. So currently, for the past 3 years, I have been judging a competition called This Dress. It's a charity that helps the winning lady. It's like matric ladies that helps the winning girl to then with registration fees for her university, which she will eventually enroll into. So I play a part in that as well. I also style matric ladies in conjunction with Weyaka Vendunge. She is a local media personality here. So we do that for the past 3 years as well. We've been doing that where we are helping matric girls, that comes from a very less privileged background. Just to make them feel beautiful and glamorous for the one night. And what I would really want to do, especially now that I have, now that I'm on Forbes Africa 30 under 30, really want to go back to my hometown, which is Keetmanshoop. I really want to go do a lot of charity work there, and especially the youth, pensioners, see what I can bring about change in Keetmanshoop. But I am really passionate about, giving back, and like whatever opportunity comes my way that aligns with my brand, I would also really want to take that on.
Just that point, Reinhard, I mean, there's this general perception that the designers in South Africa and Nigeria, they're the 2 biggest economies, they're the best. So what is the perception? How are you changing that perception? There must be something that you're turning to. Is it the tradition? I mean, we always hear about the Namib Desert. We hear about the Himba, the beautiful Himba tribes in Namibia. Are you using that tradition as a USP in some sense in selling your work?
So a lot of foreigners, really also tapped into Namibian heritage when it comes to fashion. That is what they come and look here for. And that is also what we here in Namibia also really put to the forefront is, uniquely our Namibian heritage. Like you mentioned, the Himba, like the Himbas were featured in Beyonce's Black is King film, for example. That was like major for us. And then we have the Herero dress. They do have, it's like very unique. And then we have the Oshibambo. They use a fabric called Ondelela. So those are really like the unique stuff that foreigners and other people tap into our market and what we also push to the forefront. And we also have like the Nama dress, for example, that's really unique. It's like different patches of fabric where the ladies wear, and that also looks really beautiful. So I think what makes us different in Namibia in terms of fashion and what we can give to the world is our Namibian heritage. And we also try to incorporate the Namib Desert and, into our work that we do. You will see a lot of designers, Namibian designers, they try and do that. So that is really one of the exciting things, that we try to do here in Namibia and put out for the world to see.
Mihlali, tell us about how you're using your power as an influencer to create social change. What is the advice or the lessons you want to pass on to the next generation of influencers? I mean, that could be totally different because it's a digital age that we're in. The evolution of the influencer itself might be different, but how are you using your power to change the narrative in some way?
I'm using my power to help underprivileged communities within Johannesburg right now. My foundation is very small. I'm a co-founder of Siyasizana Foundation, which we founded back in 2016. We officially registered in 2017. And we started off helping children because we felt that was a cause very close to our heart. We were working with various children's home and centers in Alexandra, for example. But with the rise of gender-based violence and rape, we then started working with a lot of women's shelters, which we supply with sanitary towels, as well as hygiene kits, and in any way that we can assist. We also do work readiness programs to help empower these women and get them out of their abusive situations, because very often they might end up in those situations due to a partner who feels as though they can control them because they don't necessarily have the means to provide for themselves. And we help schools as well, stationery, book drives, baby drives. There's really nothing that we don't do. We just find ways to touch people's lives and help improve their circumstances. And then in terms of social media, I feel like things such as liking and resharing, having a voice, challenging various social issues, that's something that I also stand very firm on, especially causes very close to my heart, such as things relating to racism, as well as abuse. So that's really how I use my influence. Sorry, please may you repeat your second question?
No, I think you've answered the second question as well. It's the evolution of the influencer. And I guess in every evolution, it's all about creating change. So I think you've answered. So I'm really looking forward to the next 24 years in your career. Can't imagine what you will achieve by then. So let me move to Cleo. Cleo, travel and hospitality. I know you give back a lot as well. So if you can briefly tell us touch on, your definition of social change.
I guess, one thing I've always believed is that obviously everybody has something that, they're very passionate about. So as much as I want to save the world, kind of have to stick to something that, obviously I can at least control. So for me, I'm really passionate about women empowerment, as well as just alleviating poverty. So with Nuecleo, I think when I started my company, from the get-go, I said I would always donate 10% of what I brought into the company. I would donate towards different, social organizations that kind of fit into that. I also have a internship program that I run for young women, essentially. And it was basically based off of, I think it was back in 2017, it was the Women's Day, International Women's Day.
Yes.
And it was about, be for change, essentially. And one of my drivers was the fact that there's such a large, obviously, gender pay gap in the world. And one thing I was reading about, especially with, I almost want to say third world countries, where we can start narrowing that gap is through digital fluency. So me being able to offer these skills and teaching them how to run a business, I feel just being able to empower them that way, at least my part in being able to narrow that gap. And then from a poverty alleviation, I was also very much inspired by the LA Dream Center. Tony Barnett is the head pastor there. And with one of their programs is called Adoptive Lock, and I was so inspired to start that in my own community because it was a case of, just need to drink water, my throat. So it was a case of each one reach one. And I think that mentality of if your neighbor can at least help the next person, that's how we can actually bring about change in our communities. It shouldn't necessarily just rest on one person trying to drive change all the time. So I had mobilized my home cells at the time in the area, and we would do weekly, Sunday feeding schemes, and then in the week as well, I would then offer up my time on a Wednesday to go and do feeding schemes in Kaya Sands with my church. So we feed about 350 kids through that program, as well as teaching them. And obviously there are the winter drives, the Arise campaigns for matricle dancers, girls in matricle for their dances. Sorry about that. So a lot of these things are just very dear to my heart. And hopefully in the next year or two, I will be able to open up my NGO. I just felt in this time, I just didn't have the capacity to be able to lend of myself in that way. But hopefully as Nuecleo expands, I'll be able to give more of my time into that as well.
I can make here especially relevant that we all, money and meaning should go together. Profit and philanthropy should go together. These are different things that we should attack or approach at the same time. Antonio, tell me, in Africa, and I've always noticed that the best basketball players are all from West Africa. Why is it that Africans don't get opportunities in Africa? Why do they have to play in Europe? Why can't we get opportunities here?
I truly believe that
social impact you're creating through your work as the founder of Overseas Basketball Connection in Cape Verde. How are you planning to change that narrative?
Well, I played in Europe. So when I was in Europe, I've seen a lot of African players, go everywhere but Africa to chase their dreams. So I see Nigerians go play in Europe, play in France, play in Italy. And I always thought it was crazy to me because as one of the biggest continents, why are we leaving here to go play somewhere else? So that's where I created Overseas Basketball Connection. I ultimately helped guys get to, these professional basketball contracts. But as the success came, I started doing different things. For example, I bought a team in Spain. I own a team in Spain now. I created my own professional basketball league in my country. So I'm trying to change the continent by, giving people hope through sports. Just like I think Mihlali said something like that. She said something like, she looked up to Kim Kardashian growing up. Kim Kardashian didn't even live, she's not from Africa. But as we are on the cover, we give them hope. So I think that the kids now, they might not say Kim Kardashian, might say we look up to Mihlali and things like that. So I think hope through sports is a way to give people jobs, to boost the economy, and to just change the world, change the continent ultimately.
100%. Sports gives hope through sports. Beautifully said. And Shakemore, with the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement coming into force earlier this year, for a lot of female entrepreneurs, especially, and female traders who are, traversing borders and trying to sell their goods in other parts. Do you in the energy industry, do you see a lot of women being promoted especially, and how are you approaching that subject? Is there some kind of impetus that you give to the gender narrative in your industry?
I would say the new trade zone that they are establishing is really going to be beneficial, especially in the energy sector, because you realize that we are going to be enjoying the free zone trade, whereby the movement is going to be flexible. And when the movement becomes flexible, it also cuts off the turnaround time because, because of the clearance that will be happening at different borders, whether you're coming from Zimbabwe into Zambia and your product is not SADC originated or probably Africa originated. There were so many things that were demanded. But now having this free trade zone, I think it's going to also make the business efficient. And pertaining the ladies in the industry, I believe it's an industry that is an open field for both gender, whether you're a male or whether you're a female. But I think, like you're saying, of late, there's been a very low uptake of female personalities getting into energy sector. But I'm realizing now, as the African continent, there's now movement and traction from the females that are also getting into energy. There's now in Nigeria, one of the biggest players in Nigeria, she's a female. And it's a very interesting thing to see also women do things that were originally purportedly male dominated. So I believe it's going to be having the free trade zone and also having females getting into the industry. The industry is a changer.
Great. I know that I always read a lot about women in solar energy and in renewable energy, and it's always heartening to know that the agenda is similar across the continent and all the countries. So thanks a lot, Shakemore, for that input. Now I'm going to quickly go around this panel and ask one basic question. So you're going to answer it in exactly one line. So it's like a rapid fire question. So I might ask different questions of each, but it will be a rapid fire. I, in fact, don't even have the questions. I just have them in my head. So I'm going to just fire rapid fire from my end as well. Reinhard, what does leadership mean to you? One sentence.
Leadership means...
You can't take long.
Sorry, someone is calling me. Leadership means to be the voiceless, to be the voice for the voiceless.
Fantastic. Mihlali, what does collaboration mean to you?
Ooh, oh my gosh, you changed the question.
That's why it's called rapid fire.
Collaboration to me means two people or two companies coming together to create something great, something with impact, something with purpose.
Okay. All right. Antonio, what does the word strategy mean to you?
Hey, I get the hardest one. Strategy means to play chess in real life.
To play chess in real life, not basketball, but chess.
Yep, the chess, yep.
You also play a lot of chess?
No.
Okay. Cleo, what does the word initiative mean to you?
What is the word?
Initiative. Initiative.
Initiative.
Yeah.
Initiative. Oh, well, then I guess it's probably initiative. I guess the purpose or the driving power behind something to be able to achieve a goal.
Okay.
So it's very dictionary-like of this apology.
All right, Shakemore, what does the word empowerment mean to you?
Wow. According to me, empowerment means giving equal opportunities to everyone, whether it's not supposed to be gender-based. So according to me, when a people are empowered is when opportunities are presented equally, whether you are blue or black. If opportunities have to be presented equally, and they are presented equally, they have to be exploited with knowledge and wisdom. According to me, that's the simplest definition of empowerment.
Yeah, but that's not a sentence. That was an entire paragraph, but it's a great way to end it. Thank you. Dear audience, thank you for listening in. This was the class of 2021, all our cover stars here with us on this panel today. Please grab a copy of the latest issue out in retail stores in South Africa and the rest of the continent. And for the full story, you can also access Forbes Africa, www.forbesafrica.com. Please continue reading Forbes Africa. And this is Renuka Methil signing off from Johannesburg.